There are a few events in the annals of American politics that no one will ever forget, where they were when man landed on the moon, when Barack Obama was inaugurated, and when 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refused to stand during the national anthem. Yes, it's our sports and politics intersection segment. And just to catch you up, here's what Kaepernick said on Sunday about his sitting protest on the treatment of African Americans when the press asked if this election season had played any part in the timing.
It wasn't a timing thing. It wasn't something that was planned. But I think the two presidential candidates that we currently have also represent the issue that we have in this country right now.
You want to expound on that?
I mean, you have Hillary, who's called black teens or black kids super predators. You have Donald Trump, who's openly racist. I mean, we have a presidential candidate who's deleted emails and done things illegally and is a presidential candidate. That doesn't make sense to me, because if that was any other person, you'd be in prison. So what is this country really standing for?
Well, it is a country that's elected a black man president twice, Colin. I mean, can you see people say why the outrage in a country that has elected a black president, has done many things, sacrificed a lot of things for freedom?
It has elected a black president, but there are also a lot of things that haven't changed.
Our friend and Bloomberg Politics contributor Will Leach has a column on Sports on Earth calling Kaepernick's protest a, quote, pivotal moment for the NFL, and writes, quote, there will be many players who will not appreciate the position Kaepernick put them in, even if they agree with him, because he forced them off the sidelines. He can't dance between the raindrops forever. Will is here with us now from Atlanta, the great Will Leach. Will, pivotal moment, just go into a little more detail about your argument here.
Well, you know, we've had moments in recent history where you've seen like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade talk about, they wore hoodies to support the family of Trayvon Martin, and you've seen certain activism, but it's always been, I kind of joked in the piece that it's always been with an approving Nike swoosh. You know, there's never been anything too controversial. It's not something that the people that pay them would be so upset about to do. This is different. It is one thing to wear a hoodie in support of Trayvon Martin. It's another thing not to stand up for the flag, particularly in something in the NFL. Where the military actually gives money to NFL teams to promote them on the field. So what this did was, you didn't have to go to every major black athlete after LeBron James wears an "I Can't Breathe" T-shirt and say during practice and say, hey, what do you think about that? What is your stance on that? This is a story that seems like it's crossed over a little bit. It's one thing. A lot of people might not know all the details of the "I Can't Breathe" shirt. They know what it means not to stand for the flag, and so I think that you're going to start seeing major black athletes all asked about this. You're going to see Cam Newton asked about this. You're really going to see some Russell Wilson asked about this. You're going to see a ton of these guys asked the questions that they've been able to kind of avoid in the past.
Well, I mean, Will, you're absolutely right in one respect. I think largely it's going to be a pivotal moment because the NFL is our religion on Sundays in this country. And the NFL has just an enormous hold on an American public that does nothing else on Sundays other than watch pro football games that are filled with flyovers and the flag. I mean, Kaepernick has a perfect right, and that's what the flag is all about, for him to make that statement. But listening to him, listening to that soundbite, I just wish that he had come to a full stop after he said timing had nothing to do with it, rather than getting into the country at large. I'm just wondering, he has taken an enormous risk with his career, with what's left of his career, in saying this, don't you think?
Well, certainly he's struggled. He was in the Super Bowl, almost won a Super Bowl 3-4 years ago. He was really considered one of the hot next prospects in the game. He's really struggled the last few years, and I think it's led some people to make these kind of weird discussions like, oh, well, he's just trying to keep relevant, as if like, yeah, the best way to remain relevant in the NFL is to have strong political beliefs. That's a great way to be employed forever. So I think it's put him in a difficult situation. And remember, he had not stood for the the anthem during any of the preseason games this year. It wasn't until he was asked about it and said, "Oh, this is why." But if you'd been following him on Twitter, this was not a surprise that he would do something like this. He very clearly had very strong political statements and strong beliefs about this. So I think he may have backed into this a little bit. And I think, as I agree with you, watching the interview, there's some messaging he probably needs to work on a little bit. But I don't think there's any question that this is something he's willing to take head on. And yeah, there's certainly pressure about it. Again, this is different than the kind of sports speech we usually hear. But I think that actually speaks to more, whether you agree with him or not, kind of the courage of him to even do it.
Well, you think there's a split here between how other players are going to feel about this and do feel about it, and how the front offices feel about it, and how the coaching staffs feel about it?
Yeah, Mike Freeman, an excellent football reporter for Bleacher Report, so immediately started calling sources afterwards, said that across the board, the vast majority of players were like, good for Cap, we're very happy for him, good job. And zilcho on the executives and the coaches. They wanted nothing to do with that. Now, again, part of the NFL, I think there's a part of the NFL culture that's inherently conservative, but I think it's actually more that players are just not supposed to cause trouble. Distraction is the big word that everyone loves to toss around when it comes to the NFL. The idea that now not only are all of these high-profile black athletes going to be asked about this, other 49ers players are going to be asked about this. The coach is going to be asked about this. All of these kind of executives, this is the last thing that they want to deal with, because they just want to be tunnel-focused on football. So that's why they don't want to hear about this, because this causes a headache for their team. But players, I think a lot of them, whether or not they agree with Kaepernick, I think frankly a lot of them probably don't, but I think they like the idea that an athlete is standing for something and saying something in a league where that's often very discouraged.